welcome to the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me as always is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, that's the theme, isn't it? So how many of you out there have gotten your NyQuil and your Mucinex and your, I don't know, whatever else people take for colds?
Sudafed.
Theraflu and Sudafed. Yeah, just, man, the flu season has been terrible this year.
Yes, the night is long and full of dangers.
Oh God, yeah. So we've been off the air for a couple of weeks. Originally, it started with me. I had a cold. I was like, man, I know we were planning on getting together, but my voice is shot, and I think we'll just try again next week. And
then President's Day came and went. We were planning on doing something, and then my voice went to crap.
Right. And then I got the flu, which in my opinion was probably the worst flu I've ever had. I mean, literally, the first 2 days I was literally just in bed. I could move, but I didn't feel like it. It was hard to get up and do anything. My mom actually had to come down to make sure I was getting fluids because I'm just here by my lonesome. And then I went into work the third day, which was a huge mistake. Everybody that I ran into was like, "What are you doing here? Go home." So I was there about 2 hours, and then I went back home and passed out. The weekend came, and it was just more sleeping and resting up. And then the next week, I was just basically The Walking Dead. Like, I was fuzzy all week. Like, it was tough to like run through issues, but I'm like at work, and my team noticed it. They're like, you're still not feeling good. It's like, no, not really. And then you go and get sick.
Yeah. So last Saturday, I had a long weekend. I was kind of excited for it because obviously it was President's Day. We had that off, and woke up Saturday morning, had a bit of a sore throat and a cough, and I was kind of tired.
That's how it starts.
And it was already a bad weekend. Girlfriend had death in the family, and they had to go do all that. And I'm like, listen, I cannot go anywhere right now. I'm just going to stay home. So I rested Saturday. Sunday, I woke up and I slept. I just slept all day. I had a fever and I was feeling terrible. Monday came and went. Same thing. I think I maxed out like 103.5, something ridiculous.
Yep.
And
Well,
the
hey,
hour before I was at 98, so it was fluctuating like crazy.
Well, hey, as you know, the average temperature is not the same anymore as it used to be. You saw that article like go around, right? It's like, oh no, it's not 97.9. It's actually like whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. That sounds like bullshit.
No, I mean, legitimately, that can be. Sorry, it was a dumb article that I saw like fly around all the place. Continue your story.
Yeah. So Tuesday I had to drag through 8 hours of work because I wouldn't have gotten paid for President's Day otherwise. You got to work the day before and have to schedule all that good stuff. And then I burned through about 2 solid days of sick time and woke up this morning. I said, look, I don't have a fever and I'm really bored sleeping. I've gone through enough episodes of Clone Wars and the MMO that I've been playing. So can I please come to work? It's like, well, if you don't get sick, that's fine. So
yeah,
finally getting back to normal now. I'm ready to go through all the stuff that we've been watching. Got Clone Wars and
right. Yeah, Clone Wars is
the right now, but
yeah,
I guess it was a good time to take a break if it was going to happen. At least it wasn't when this dropped.
Right, for sure. And obviously we're going to go over Clone Wars today, the first episode that just dropped. We have 12 episodes. This first episode was 24 minutes, and it looks like we're going to get the every Friday drop like Mandalorian. So I'm pretty happy about that.
I was too. I was a little nervous. I'd wake up this morning and see that they had dropped the whole season.
I know.
Yeah.
So, but obviously,
this way.
Yeah, and we went over that with Mando. It just makes me more excited for it. So,
it makes you rewatch it. It's nostalgic to the way we used to watch TV when we were growing up.
Exactly. So we'll eventually get back more into the swing of things. Obviously, there were a couple of comics that dropped, so have power half hours to do. when we can kind of get to those, and then there was some backlog news and stuff, and I think you had some stuff we were just talking about before we actually hit the record button. So a lot of that, but I want to tell a brief story. So when I was, I think it was during the weekend when I was sick. I was doing a Clone Wars rewatch, leading up to all of this stuff, and I was I don't even remember where I was at. I think I was mostly through season 6. And so one of the days I was able to kind of maneuver myself out to the couch and I turned on and I watched a couple episodes. I was kind of in and out of it a little bit, but I finally shut it off and I went to bed. Now, everybody reacts different to sicknesses, but during this one, I was only sleeping like maybe an hour at a time, and I'd wake up or something. I had some really strange stuff happening. Like once I woke up and like all the nerves in my hands were like firing. Like it was like pin pricks all over my hands. I was like, nope. Just go back to sleep, man. Just go back to sleep.
Yeah, no, mine went numb quite a bit. I had that like electrical tingling feeling happen a lot, but I never had 5.
Yeah, this was like straight up just prick all over. So then, you kind of get that mind racing sort of stuff, can't stop thinking, or, you can't really control that. So I actually started running through like just sort of mind on autopilot, all these like Clone Wars-esque battle scenarios. So I actually was like, I am not watching this show ever again. It's not allowing me to sleep now. So it was the weirdest thing. Like I don't know what perpetuated that, but that's just where my mind went. I'd watch maybe 3 episodes or something, and it was like it just killed it for me. It literally killed it for me. So honestly, I was actually a little worried that, because I also have this thing where sometimes I'll eat something right before I get sick and I won't ever eat it again, which is why I don't eat sunflower seeds or DiGiorno's pizza.
Yeah.
Dead serious.
Yep, I remember that one.
So not that I'm sorry. I think DiGiorno's pizza is garbage anyway.
It's not
but
the biggest loss, honestly. I mean, you could have lost a lot worse, like a really good restaurant or something.
Yeah, well, and taquitos as well. I don't want taquitos.
I can't tell you the last time I've craved taquitos, so that's
I don't
not
think
much
anybody really craves taquitos, but it's just weird stuff you eat before, or like you were sick. But anyway, I was like, man, am I going to really want to watch this? Because I go in moods. If I stop wanting to watch something, I will not watch it. If I stop,
like it at that point. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, or something, or like food. If I just get tired of tacos, I just won't eat tacos for a very long time. That's just how I just work in moods. So I was happy that, I was able to get in the episode, sit down, watch it, and enjoy it. So let's go ahead and jump on in then. How about giving us your first thoughts? What did you think of this episode?
In the nicest way possible, more of the same. Not a bad thing, but yeah, definitely more of the same. The battles are about what you expect. There's a couple of little interesting changes, with the new squad, but as far as the plot goes, it's not the most exciting, new plot out of all of Clone Wars. It doesn't compare to Mortis or anything like that, but it's pretty cool so far. Like the new characters.
Yeah, and again, we had talked about this. It's basically just another episode of Clone Wars. They picked up where they left off, and that's what it feels like. And that there's nothing wrong with that.
It's a good thing, because how long have they been, silent with Clone Wars? It's been quite a few years since they came out, so it's a good transition.
Right.
It's like they never stopped.
Yeah, and that I think. I feel like that's probably the point, but yeah, it was nice to jump back in. You didn't necessarily have to jump into something super crazy, like we mentioned earlier. So it's 12 episodes, so it's not like it's not a ton. I was actually just looking up. So season 6 was 13 episodes. Looks like they hovered. 5 was 20. So,
well, they went. The first season was what, 24?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they've
So
really cut it down since the beginning.
yeah, I mean, which happens, and
Well, they kind of needed to. I don't want 22 episode seasons personally.
yeah. Well,
Well, I'm
and
good with that.
how many storylines are they trying to do? What are they trying to wrap up? Because
Right.
again, last season, but the episode title is The Bad Batch, and I was originally talking with you beforehand. We got, we'll just spoilers, obviously. If you don't want to get specifics of the episode yet, just turn it off and come back later. But there was a scene in here where, the quote, Bad Batch of clones, we're starting this battle scene. And I was like, wait a minute, this looks very familiar. And I can't remember if we saw footage or if we saw concept art at Star Wars Celebration during the Clone Wars panel. And now that I'm thinking about it, it definitely was footage, because I remember Ashley Eckstein like literally sitting on the floor cross-legged and just like looking up at the giant screen, and then like all the other castmates were just, they kind of got down with her.
Yeah.
and they're all just looking up this giant screen, and we're obviously all, oh yeah, footage. So I do remember that battle scene, and I totally forgotten about it. So
Yeah.
we did get a little preview, and honestly, I might have talked about that during like the celebration episode forever ago. I don't remember.
And maybe what was that about? Who knows? 8 months ago, you talked about that. 6 months ago.
Yeah, it's been
Seems like.
been a while. I mean, we're marching on towards the next one this year. So, the Bad Batch is a group of clones with some what did he say? Desirable mutations.
Yeah.
And
Which, that being said, yeah, they are quite desirable. Why don't you try and mimic that a little bit? Because these clones are much better than most of them.
well, yeah, kind of in a way. They're obviously very quirky, and they have a much more defined personality to them. You kind of have your. I only watched this once, and I can't remember all the names. I should probably try and look up.
They're very stupid, and I'm sorry, that's my one complaint. They're very basic names. So you have your commander, Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter, right?
With
Rambo
with the knife. You've got Tech. I don't need to tell you his role.
Right.
I don't need to tell you any of these people's role. You got Tech, you got Crosshair, and you got Wrecker.
Wrecker, yeah. So basically, Wrecker is your strong
Team Fortress 2 chain gun guy.
Oh goodness, yeah, there you go. So yeah, the strong guy, and like he literally at one point lifts a troop carrier.
Yes.
Now, how they got
that was
that
a little too much.
Yeah, how they got that, I don't know, but they did. Crosshair is like a sniper.
What's his mutation other than his eye? I mean, being a good shot is not that much of a mutation in my eyes.
Well, it might be some sort of like hyper focus or something, or like the ability to just be still and patient, and
maybe.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about that one, but
he's a Call of Duty sniper essentially, though. I mean, he's great.
Yeah,
give him.
Just never misses a shot or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hunter has kind of like the inward map.
Yes.
For lack of better
I love how they
terms.
explain that too. It's like, well, we have maps for that. It's like maps are wrong sometimes. Hunter's never wrong.
Yeah,
he can sense all the electrical pulses on the planet.
Yeah, so kind of like a super tracker, I guess. And then
so he has the Force.
Oh God. And then what was the last one's name? Tech. So Tech is kind of, again, it's fairly implicit, but kind of your nerdy dude who's all about the tech. And when we first see him getting off the ship, he's got his head in a data pad.
Yeah.
So all very specialized, but all make up this team. So Commander Cody actually calls his team in to help out because Rex is back, and Rex sort of, he identifies like, listen, we're on this planet. And they seem to always have the perfect counterattack to everything I'm planning. And I think there's something wrong here. Now, one of the interesting things is because they're talking with Master Windu and with Anakin. And Anakin kind of senses like there's something he's not really telling me. He's like, is there anything else, Rex? He's like, no. But Rex is able to confide in Commander Cody, and he thinks that Echo, who I don't remember which episode was his technical demise, but he's like, you know what? I think that Echo's still alive.
Yeah, so I remember Echo dies on the Citadel, I believe with 5s, but I can't remember what season that was on. I've only done my rewatch to season 2. I'm almost on season 3, so I'm not sure when he dies, but it's some interesting implications, seeing as how he helped Rex do a lot of his battle planning.
Right.
So,
and that was Rex's concern, is that obviously if somehow either they're using Echo or somehow the Separatists have figured out a way to anticipate better.
Which Cody calls an algorithm, just to learn all of their tactics, but it's only seemingly Rex's tactics, which they do say, well, you're the best fighter we have, best commander we have, so it makes sense they would be focusing on you, but it's some interesting implications early on in the episode.
Yeah, and they even kind of talk about, varying their strategy anyway, because if you do the same things over and over again, a droid is going to be able to differentiate that on their own. But this is far beyond the standard sort of guesswork, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're not winning any battles whatsoever. It's like a expert chess player playing a novice. So.
Yeah. So we get this mission that Rex and Cody kind of put together, and Cody brings in the Bad Batch as backup because he feels that they are unpredictable enough that maybe they can help turn the tide or at least complete this mission. So they do their little fly in through this canyon. They're trying to get to a data center, and they're shot down. And then we get the scene with the Bad Batch just sort of doing this unconventional, go straight at 'em, fighting style. So what did you think about the first little battle we had here?
Pretty cool all in all. So the part with what I say his name was Crosshair.
The sniper.
Holding like Tech telling him certain numbers and then him throwing the grenade and hitting it. It's like, I don't really understand how that, I don't know. Yeah, that part was kind of weird to me. But other than that, it was a pretty cool scene. They demolished them, obviously. Wrecker's a pretty good tank. I'll give him that. The whole picking up the transport thing was kind of weird. So we have Cody injured in this, so he's unable to command. We get Rex as the commander, which doesn't go well with the Bad Batch. They're not too thrilled with the idea of following him. Yeah,
I mean, they obviously they have a connection and they have a loyalty to Commander Cody. They don't know Rex, and they kind of even sort of get on him a little bit. It's like, well, if you're so good, why won't we be here? Why would we be here? And even some of the other what does the Bad Batch call them? Regs?
I'm sorry, what was that?
They call them regs, the normal troopers.
Yeah. Yep.
So they kind of get in a little bit of an altercation, and it's fascinating because, again, like when the Bad Batch showed up, the clone troopers were like, are they really clones? So they're just very different, and this is something that we're pointing out very early and often in the beginning of this episode. So then we move on to taking a tower, which they do pretty handily. Kind of split up, get the Bad Batch to go in first. Rex and the other, I think there were like 2 other regular troopers kind of come in afterwards, and then they start to want to hit that data center. But, they seem pretty proficient together. They work pretty well.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I thought the elevator scene was probably my favorite fighting scene in this episode. I thought that was a pretty cool little execution.
Yeah. Do you ever get tired of the B-1 battle droids being so inept?
I get tired of all the droids being so inept other than the commando droids, personally. Even the B-2s are terrible.
Yeah, we get it a lot in this episode where they're like, oh, whoa, you can't be here. How'd you get here? Sort of deal, like constantly. It's like, aren't you supposed to be like machine killers?
Yeah, but even like with the B-2s, they can be shooting at you for an hour at point blank and miss you, unless you're just the sacrifice of the episode. That was the only problem I've ever had with Clone Wars, and I think they kind of demonstrate that the best with the episode where Yoda crash lands with those 3 troopers. It's like, okay, you're at point blank for like a solid 20 seconds and no one's getting hit. This is ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I've ever had against Clone Wars, because clones just don't take cover. They just don't.
Yeah, and I mean, it's still supposed to be kid show driven. I actually think Clone Wars gets pretty serious sometimes, especially
it gets dark.
Yeah, honestly. Especially when you lose a character, but then they try and interject all these little humor points to, I think, kind of try and keep kids. But honestly, this is more like a teenage thing almost.
It is.
Like, I wouldn't show it to little kids necessarily, because like, when Fives is killed I'm really struggling because I just
even let's say the leader of Death Watch, when Maul decapitates him. That's some
God, yeah, you're right. I forgot all about yeah. So there's that when Heavy is taken down. They're actually very emotional points, and it's tough, but again, so you have all this dark, and then all of a sudden, hey, what are you doing here? You can't be here. Stop.
Yeah.
Like, what? We're not downing the show, by the way. It's
if we went back and watched Phantom Menace, we'd probably remember. It's like, oh yeah, they kind of talk like that to an extent. They're kind of incompetent. I mean, their only advantage is their numbers, really.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all a numbers game for sure.
Yeah.
So we then go from this tower to the data center. At this point, do you remember the spider guy's name?
No.
I can't remember. I never remember his name for some reason.
And the spider guy is ridiculous.
Yeah, he is. He was supposed to be like, the big, general, just super strategist and so forth. And
I want to know what he did before the war.
Would be interesting. Yeah, would be interesting.
I just want to know what he sold.
Oh, God. So he kind of instructs the droids, it's like, well, listen, they're going for this data center. Keep everybody on high alert. And of course, when that happens, heads fly off and, here we go.
Yeah. When are they coming? Now.
Yep, there they are.
Yep.
So we do get in the data center. Tech and Rex are able to get into the system, and then they make a connection to to another planet. So not just like downloading data, they make a connection to another planet where this signal's coming from. They pop in the algorithm like code that Rex has. It's like, yeah, we found it, but it's on, I don't remember the planet name. We're real good at this.
Same here. But we do hear a voice saying a number, which is something that gets Rex's attention.
Yep.
We find out later on that it's Echo.
Echo's call sign.
It's his call sign, and he is alive, supposedly.
Yeah.
So, and he's the one somehow giving all this information to the Separatists. I can only imagine what he's going through to make him want to help them, or force him to help them, I should say.
Well, it's an interesting thing. So the question starts, is it actually him being forced, or is he doing it on his own recognizance?
We've seen traitor clones.
Well,
we had that in the first season, I believe.
Yep. Or is it something different? Like, could it be? I don't know. Could it be like his brain is just transplanted?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you also had that episode with the zombie clones. Maybe they perfected that, and
zombies.
It's complete mind control.
So it is interesting, and we're setting up for something that could be either heartwarming, I guess, or it could be really, really bad.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know. I feel like it would tie more into the third episode if we go on the dark side and it's something really bad. I don't think we're going to have a lot of heartwarming moments in the season, personally.
No, and I kind of feel like it's going to be one of those scenarios where they find whatever's left of Echo, and Rex is going to have to effectively end it.
Yeah, and you have to remember, Rex leaves the army, so there's going to have to be some things that happen to him that force him to want to, and I think this is going to be one of those things.
Well, and it just kind of goes into like, what if Echo's really in like a really bad shape? Maybe it's a brain thing, or I don't know, dead body or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, something he's not coming back from.
Yeah, something he's not coming back from, and he's kind of just like, please, Rex, put me out of my misery or something. That's God, that would be dark.
But again, that's Clone Wars.
Yeah.
They hit you with unexpected dark moments like that.
Very true. So it will be interesting to see what happens. And I think we talked about it before. We're pretty sure that this is going to be, probably at least 3 episodes, maybe.
I think so. But I think it will bounce,
but maybe not in
between the season. Yeah, I think it'll be one of the last episodes of the season to conclude this arc.
Okay.
Personally.
Yeah, I mean I think what they might do next episode is go to, we're going to the planet, and maybe they moved everything. Mm-hmm. So like they're too late, because our General Spider guy, super professional podcast, General Spider, he was like shocked. He's like, what? When they were told, it's like, did they download anything? Did they take any information? It's like, no information's gone, but it looks like they made a connection to planet whatever. And it's like, he's like, oh crap, they know.
Yeah.
So I would assume that they probably move whatever's there, and it's kind of like the search, which would then, kind of validate not having, the triple, the hat trick episode where you have to button this up.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but yeah, I mean, interesting episode. Again, it felt like jumping just right back into Clone Wars. I do think we're going to get some stuff here that's going to be very interesting to the fan base. And I've been self-professed that, if I'm going to pick an animated Star Wars show, it's going to be Rebels. Okay. Why there's not another season of Rebels right now is kind of mind-blowing, because we got to have this resolution to this show.
Well, we are getting another season. We're getting our 4th season of Rebels as well.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see when it happens. But yeah, I mean, it was just kind of one of those things. Like
soon, but
it's like, please just do it, because we all want to know what happened. But I am glad we're getting more Clone Wars, because like the more I watched of it, the more I appreciated it.
Yes,
because I
mean, it spawned, honestly, some of the best characters in Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
they really did.
I mean, it also killed them.
Yes, for sure. Well, I mean, between Asajj, and Ahsoka, and Rex, I mean, they are some of the most literature-worthy characters in all of Star Wars. I mean, seriously, I know Ahsoka's had a book, but I want another book for her. I want another book for Asajj, because her story ends very tragically, and it's just, she's a compelling character.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it was, I don't know, kind of the ending that I think she was always going to, but you know, it is what it is.
Damn you, Quinlan Voss.
Well, I mean, they fell for each other, which was interesting. So,
yeah.
Well, yeah, but I think that let's just do some predictions. You want to do some predictions for the rest of the season? So let's start with you. What do you think? What do you think we're gonna see? Maybe what would be your number one, like, biggest mind blowing thing, if there would be?
Ooh, that's a hard question. I feel like the anticipation for this is just so much about wrap up in between, you know, that last month before Revenge of the Sith, that mind blowing might not be in the cards for it.
Yeah.
You know,
it's tough.
I want to say something with Ahsoka, but I feel like that's so generic because that's what we all want. You know, I'd be much less surprised with something pushing Anakin further towards the dark side and stuff like that. You know, obviously anything with Obi-Wan's gold.
Exactly.
But, yeah, especially now waiting on the new series with that damn delay.
definitely.
But you know, I'd kind of like to see a little bit more with Yoda and Mace in a weird way.
Okay.
Because I feel like we haven't gotten a lot of them. And I don't know, I've been seeing some theories lately about, you know, what if Yoda knew everything that was leading up to Order 66, and what if he knew all of this was going to happen, so he had to accept the Jedi Order was already, you know, doomed. And
oh, really?
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. The main reason for that being his talk with the Wills. So that'd be kind of interesting if they dived a little deeper into that and went into, you know, his mindset going into Episode 3.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more with him and Mace, because I feel like we just don't get anything with Mace.
Yeah, I mean, he's there, but he's not really. I only really remember, just from my memory, like one Mace-centric episode, and I'm trying to think of what it was, but oh my God, it was the one with him and Jar Jar.
See, that's the problem. You know, and I kind of wish that we could have had him in this episode. It was kind of seeming like it would be for a second, you know.
Well, I mean, yeah, he wasn't that. Yeah, you're right. He wasn't there for a little bit in the briefing room, but obviously this was just clone centric. So yeah, I think it would be a little. We always talk about wanting more Jedi, though. So
we do. You know, let me ask you this: if maybe this was just me, but I had this weird moment at the very beginning of the episode, because I didn't really do a lot of research before going in, so I didn't know if every single voice actor had reprised the role. But with how quiet Anakin seemed the first, like, 2 or 3 minutes of dialogue, I was getting a little worried. Like, did they change the voice actor?
I actually had a similar thought about that, because, like, why isn't he talking?
Yeah, it's like, are they keeping him quiet for a reason? What's going on here?
Yeah, no, but yeah, everybody did reprise the role. I mean, at Celebration, they had the entire cast in there, and they were all very excited about it. So, but I actually had the same thought. That's interesting. I'm glad you said that, because I wouldn't have remembered that.
Yeah. And also, it's kind of weird seeing the new animation style with him, you know, leading up to Revenge of the Sith with the long hair and everything.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Seeing everyone else the same. Although Rex seems a little more battle hardened. Cody looks the exact same.
Yeah, for sure. So
I kind of do hope we get a little bit more into Cody's backstory, because I feel like he's a very ignored character. I mean,
he kind of is
there, but you don't get anything on him. I mean, we've had Cody since the original, you know, the prequels.
Yeah.
You know, he was a part of Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan went to fight Grievous, but we never really got any information on him. you know, I don't know, maybe he wasn't supposed to be important, but to me, he was the only named clone at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, to me that was kind of a waste throughout the series. I hope we get a little more on Cody. Hopefully his injury doesn't put him out of commission for the entire season.
Yep.
So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting so far. I'm excited. Again, it's not the most thrilling episode, but I am excited.
Yeah, for sure. I think that we are definitely going to get an Ahsoka story.
Yes.
Because I'm looking at a little poster that I got from Celebration for this series of the Clone Wars, and it's Ahsoka. So I definitely think, I mean, she's a beloved character. She's so cool. She's so cool that they worked her into Rebels, and you know, she literally fought Darth Vader. You know, there's just so much more to do with her. Yeah, they gave her own standalone book. And I think that there will be more. I mean, she's so beloved that her voice was heard in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah, and it was actually an uproar because it was, you know, essentially saying that she's one of the dead Jedi.
Well, I mean, by that time she probably would be. I don't know, but we'll see.
I don't know. How old was Shaak Ti?
Yeah, well, true.
That's the only other one of her species. I don't know how long they live, but
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I definitely think we're gonna get an Ahsoka story. I feel like we won't. I feel like we won't get that until mid-season though, for some reason. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I because she's not a part of the Jedi Order. You know, she's not there. So I think we're gonna see her. I just don't know in what capacity.
Yeah. Oh, and kind of going on a tangent here, but I saw another theory today that was super cool.
Okay.
So let's say in our new season of Rebels, I don't know how much of a time jump there's going to be. You know, you never know.
Yeah.
But there's a theory that between episodes 5 and 6, Ahsoka meets Luke.
Ooh, really?
And helps train Luke. Helps construct his lightsaber. Teaches him how to do it.
What?
And one thing that I really grab on, you know, there is not a single person in the original trilogy that gives a good, you know, that gives a good opinion of Vader. Mm-hmm. No one, absolutely no one gives Luke any reason to have compassion for Vader. You know, Obi-Wan says that he's the one that kills his father, and all these people make him out to be a monster. And who better to humanize Vader for Luke than his Padawan?
Okay.
And how fitting would it be for her to help train his son? You know, you have this big shift in Luke between 5 and 6 where he wants to redeem his father and knows there's still good in him. Where does he get that from? You know?
Yeah, I think it's a nice thought.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not an initial thought from when he made those movies back then, but it would be a really cool tie-in if Luke at some point had at least met Ahsoka. I think that would be freaking awesome.
Yeah,
so I don't know if they jump that far with Rebels, but I think that'd be mind-blowing.
I think it would be interesting. I don't think it would happen. I feel like that would be like a logistical nightmare.
Oh God, yeah.
You know, trying to fit all this stuff in here, because like obviously, you know, you take all these years from the original movies, and then you know you try and pile on lore on top of lore, and it's going to become hard to make everything fit, and then you just wind up forcing pieces together. And that's when you get the holes.
To the point where you just ruin the original movies. And honestly, I'm a bit of a purist with the originals. I like the idea of them being standalone.
Yeah.
In a way. that the rest of the universe doesn't affect them in any way, and the rest of the universe tries to tie into them.
Yeah.
Not that they try to tie those movies into the rest.
Yeah, no doubt.
But there was something about that theory to me that kind of stood out. You know?
Well, it's a cool thought. It is a very cool thought to think that the Padawan of Anakin Skywalker could potentially help guide or train or even just talk to the son.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very cool thought, and it definitely resonates. It would just be, God, I feel that'd be so hard to do. I mean, you could always do one day on Octo, Luke was doing some stuff and it's like, hey, I'm Ahsoka, what's up? I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Force Ghost or whatever.
Exactly. I mean, that would be, and you even could have done that with a Force Ghost. She didn't even have to be alive at that point.
Yeah,
everyone's a Force Ghost now, so I mean.
Well, let's not get too far into that, because then we'll wind up arguing about Force Ghosts. So aside from Ahsoka, definitely think Ahsoka's coming back. The big thing here is, when do we end this season? Okay, so I think that this is going. I think that this is going to end basically right before the events of wow. Of episode 3. I just had a complete blanker there.
Basically, we're going to have the call. The Chancellor's been kidnapped, essentially.
Well, that's what I'm sort of thinking. Maybe. Now, I know we talked a little bit before the episode, and we were sort of thinking about what if they ended on Order 66. But the more I started thinking about it, it's like, God, you're going to have to really, I don't know about the tie-ins. Then it just seems like you're just rehashing episode 3.
Right. And how do you really end it on that? Do you end it with them killing Jedi? Do you end it with,
what if
Senate meeting right before the order is enacted? I mean, what do you do?
What if they just ended it on like Commander Cody as he hands Kenobi back his lightsaber, and then he just turns and it's like, execute Order 66. Poor Cody.
I mean, there's not much more of a dramatic way to end it than that, I guess. But I don't know. You know?
Yeah, I think we'll probably get the ending, like right before 3. At least that's what I feel would be logical.
Yeah, it would be kind of cool to see Ahsoka's reaction to Order 66, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Well, another thing is, and this is sort of like before the Ahsoka book, where her and Rex effectively go off and like they dig their own graves. That's where Ahsoka leaves her one set of lightsabers.
Yep.
So, I mean, what if you did like a time jump and you just ended on that, Ahsoka and Rex effectively going their separate ways, and that sort of sets up the next phase or something. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. We're going to have so much speculation, I think, but I don't know. I don't see how you could make this season disappointing in any way with the track record they have. So
yeah,
ultimately, I don't even care how they end it. Honestly, it's just having that journey again. One more season. I'm excited.
Yeah, I agree with you. Having one more ride with this cast, with these characters, I think it should be good. And we'll see. We will see how it all ends, and we'll continue to recap it for you right here. We're gonna do basically the same thing we did for the Mandalorian, seeing as these look like they're all going to be dropped on Friday. So for the next 12 weeks, this is what we'll be doing. So
every Friday night or Saturday morning.
Yep. Just getting together, doing the recap, and just giving the opinions. And if you guys would like to share your opinions with the show, there are a couple ways to do that. So you can hit us up on Facebook, drop us a message, just say, hey, this is what I thought about the episode, and we'll talk about it in the following show. You can send us an email just to tcplanpodcast@gmail.com if you want to do a little bit more long form. Or you can hit us up on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. Send us a little message there or whatever, or, tweet at us or something. Just at TC Plan Podcast. And, we'd love to hear from you guys. And this is pretty epic stuff. It's definitely, it's weird because we're closing a lot of books here. We're ending a lot of stories. We just ended this, quote, maybe ended the Skywalker saga. We're ending Clone Wars. We're potentially putting the last pin in the Kenobi lineup with that show. Cassian, whenever that gets to come out, that's another potential sort of, give the backstory, and then we're done. And then eventually, maybe Rebels and just buttoning everything up.
Do you feel like Disney's almost doing this intentionally, bringing us for the next wave of Star Wars? Because that's how I feel. It's not a bad thing. It's a lot of fan service. It's a good thing. I do appreciate them doing this. They didn't have to do another season of Clone Wars, Rebels, any of that. They could have completely jumped ahead to their own stories and left us old timers in the dust.
It's very true. I think you're right. I think they're closing the bookends on a lot of this stuff, and then maybe we just get the next phase. I don't think Star Wars will ever really end.
I can't fathom what it will be in 5 or 10 years, but I don't think we'll ever see the end of it. But then again, what did the people that grew up with the original trilogy imagine Star Wars could have been in 10 years, 20 years?
Yeah, for sure.
And it ended up okay.
Yep. So we've got a lot more stuff to talk about, and we'll dot some other episodes here and there with some news. I'm so far behind on Power Half Hours. I've got several comics to go through, and then once I can kind of get back in the swing of that. But I think it's important to kind of articulate this a little bit. We want to put out as much content as possible because it is fun. It's actually very fun for us to sit here and talk Star Wars, but life happens, sickness happens, family, all that sort of stuff. So we'll try and be as consistent as humanly possible, but there are times when we might let you down. So just putting that out there.
Hey, we'll record for you sick as dogs. You might not be able to understand us, but we'll do it. Now that Clone Wars is out, we will do it.
Yeah, for sure.
You might need subtitles, though.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, so we'll continue to smash out however much we can. And then eventually, we still want to get back into the literature. We still have books that we haven't went through. Obviously, our old reread series that we kind of started the podcast with is still something we want to get back into as well. So
good old Vonger waiting for us still.
Yeah. So just keep tuned in, and we'll update you as we can. But hopefully you enjoyed the episode today. So Darth, got anything else to tell the good people at home?
Avoid people. They get you sick.
That's solid advice, man. Introverts.
Stay at home and read comics and books.
Play video games, for sure.
That's right.
Just don't drink gamer fuel or any of that crap. It'll shorten your life.
That's right. No Bang, no Rockstar, none of that crap.
Blech. It's also gross. Well, anyway, folks, thank you guys for dropping by for another episode. We greatly appreciate it, and we will see you next time.
And as always, may the flu be with you.